Now, this next story is about AT Games and why I think they don't care what you think. They manufacture a lot of these little mini retro game consoles. In fact, they kind of innovated this idea long before the NES Classic Edition came out, for example. So what they do is they go out to these video game license holders like Atari and Sega and Bandai Namco. They license the IP and produce products that look a lot like the originals did to attract customers shopping at retail. They've got a tremendous retail presence. They're in Walmarts and drugstores all over the country here in the United States. They are everywhere, and they're cheap. So if somebody's walking by, they see a Pac-Man thing, and oh, I know somebody that likes Pac-Man. Let me pick this up for him. Why not? It's a cheap little gift I can give, and they might really appreciate it. And they're okay. The emulation stinks, but they are kind of fun to play around with. I think the Atari Flashback console is probably their best product, if that's saying anything, but the other ones really haven't been all that great. Now, the other day, they sent a review unit of their new Blast console to John Hancock, who is one of my favorite YouTube creators. He's a stand-up guy, very well respected, not only here on YouTube, but also among the game collecting community. He's got one of the largest collections of retro games in the world, and he is a good guy. And AT Games sent him the new Blast here with Pac-Man on the cover to have him review it before it was released. And when he did his review, it looked pretty cool, actually, for an AT Games product. I was surprised. It was running the actual arcade ROMs for Pac-Man and Galaxian and a bunch of other games that he demonstrated. And for the price, it was looking like it was something I might actually pick up and maybe review here on the channel when it came out. And I'm glad I didn't, because John had to post up essentially a retraction video, not for something he did incorrectly, but for something the company did incorrectly. Because what happened was, when they actually shipped the product to stores, it was not running with the actual arcade games. They instead replaced all the arcade games with NES ports of those arcade games, which are not as good as the originals, of course. And they didn't tell John that they did it. So here John has this video out, and apparently what he was sent was not what consumers receive in the same box. And I think that is just the most horrible thing you could do to a stand-up guy like John, but also very bad to do to consumers as well, who might be searching for information about this product and will not be getting what AT Games indicated they would be getting. And they went out on Twitter to folks that were asking them about this to say, oh, well, we had a manufacturing problem and we switched everything around, but they didn't tell anybody this. They didn't tell John this. And then they started having some of these snarky responses to people that were criticizing them on Twitter. They were blocking a bunch of people and not being very nice to those that they did not block. You can see more at Kotaku here at the link that you see on screen here. But ultimately, they don't care what you think, because they sell product and they sell a lot of it. Their market really are not the people that watch reviews of their products, which makes me wonder why they even send out review units in the first place. But rather for those shoppers who are walking down the aisle and see Pac-Man on the box and decide, hey, this is cool, I'll pick this up for 40 bucks and give it to somebody, and that's how they make their money. And the license holders that are licensing these products out to AT Games are making a little bit from it too, and they have no risk in that game at all, because they don't have to produce the hardware or do anything other than collect a commission on every unit that is sold. So I think who does listen and care about what you think are these license holders, who need to hear, I think, from all of us that, look, AT Games is really tarnishing your brand here. This is not a good thing for Bandai Namco to have, where a product has been misrepresented to consumers, and they also impacted the reputation, perhaps, of a very well-respected YouTuber and game collector in the process. And as a result, I think it's not just a matter of not buying their products, which most of us don't do anyhow, but maybe writing to some of these license holders to hold AT Games responsible for some of this behavior, because this is not good to do a bait and switch on customers like this. And also for retailers to know about this too. Walmart certainly doesn't want their customers to go away feeling cheated either. So I think those are the folks that do need to hear from people, because clearly AT Games doesn't care what you think.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold level supporters Chris Allegretta, the Four Guys with Quarters podcast, Tom Albrecht, Too Much Sauce, Gerard Newberg, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to Lon.TV/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit Lon.TV/s.